Welcome back to the Day Trading Show, everybody. We've got an amazing episode for you today. We've got a special guest. Jerome is here to bring some insight into how he has adapted his day trading so far this year. We're going to talk a little bit about back testing, talk a little bit about time zones. We cover a lot of topics, so I think you're going to love this episode. Sit back, enjoy my conversation with Jerome and James. How crazy is it that we're all talking at the same time, but it's at different times? You know what I'm saying?
Amazing, bro.
Yeah, Jerome's living in the future.
Yeah. That's it, bro. Literally, bro. It's just crazy.
It is great. So, bro,
funny,
you're both living in the future from me.
Yeah, because you're like way back.
I'm way back, bro. I'm in the
Trippy,
I'm old
bro.
as shit. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, you ready, boys? Well, let's get into it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Day Trading Show. We've got a long overdue guest here, Jerome. Appreciate you being on, brother.
Appreciate the invite. It's glad to be here. I think I've been watching the podcast. I've been watching all the topics you guys talk about, and it's just amazing to be here. So I'm excited for this one.
We've had a lot of good work together, you and me. I mean, it's been a couple of years now. When did we first start working together? We've got the back testing course now that we've been selling every month for the last. I feel like that's at least a year now, right?
100. I think April 2020, I joined ASFX.
Right.
Just after I kind of lost my job, and I was like, you know what, I really gotta make this shit work. I put my back against the corner. I was like, as I was developing strategies and stuff, it was like, I need something that's tested, proven, ready to go, and something that more or less I had the time freedom, so I could kind of day trade.
Yeah.
So
you came to ASFX from a different group, right?
100%. Yeah. And it was good education, but 100% like I couldn't find the systematic approach. A lot of gray areas. And
now I feel like everybody kind of, at least the people that know of you, I'm sure there's some people listening that have not found you yet. And of course, we'll have your links to Twitter and Instagram all in the description, so they can go follow you, of course. But for people who do know you, they know you to be heavily involved with backtesting. Like I said, we've had the backtesting course now. You joined in 2020. Instantly, I feel like you were one of the guys that picked up what I was talking about in my courses very quickly. And that's why you saw success pretty quick, just like James. I mean, you both are very common. You both became coaches. Like, this is a big deal. I bet there's a lot of similarities here between the two of you, even that we're at totally different corners of the earth,
Yeah, exactly. I think, a lot of members, I think, find that very similar, like very true. Like, like you were saying, the back testing, like that was kind of the key, the bridge for me. Like, you have your whole approach. So if you're an ASFX member, you guys understand, like Austin, he tells you exactly how it is, zero subjectivity, very few gray areas in his teaching method. And the way he presents it, it's very easy to just catch on to like the method of the A1, the D1. And once you start implementing that, you're training your eyes to see it, you start doing the markups, the back testing, you understand the system. It's like next level.
Subtle plug.
Yeah. As always, bro. I got it.
Appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it.
You got to remember, bro, just look at the Trustpilot reviews, and I get feedback from coaching so many ASFX members. It's just amazing. Like,
somebody just plugged you recently. I got a testimonial on Trustpilot. At the end of it, it's like, big shout out to Jerome, especially like from being there.
Love it, bro.
Yeah, bro, for real. You can go see it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. The growth has been huge, bro, especially again, being in such a different time zone. You've had a lot of hurdles to overcome with your trading, time zone being one of them, just being at a different time zone, not just with your trading, but from like you and me working together from that standpoint, you working with other traders, and you've overcome a lot of these hurdles. So I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about that today. I wanted to, 100%. Of course, talk to you about back testing and what you're working on right now, because everybody's loving, even that webinar we ran a couple of months ago about how to build a profitable system. People still ask me for that. I told you the other day, somebody hit me up and was like, yo, can I get that webinar? And I was like, yeah, that's crazy you want that, but there you go. Absolutely. So kind of catch us up if you want to, maybe talk about 2022 so far and how you've been trading what some people, especially equities traders and crypto traders, are calling a really tough market,
100%. So like, of course, like if you guys follow me on Instagram, I've been kind of building my own kind of system, following the foundation of ASFX, using the similar EMAs, how we use them, the TDI indicator. I just found a pattern. And the pattern works on the 1 minute chart the best, but you can apply it to other time frames. I haven't tested it on other time frames, but the 1 minute and applying different filters to this strategy I've been able to kind of incorporate it into my lifestyle. So like, as I first started, when I joined ASFX in April 2020, trading the A1, I was trading like primarily the London and then into the New York session. So I was doing that for almost a year and a half, almost 2 years. That's what kind of led to my success. And then as I started getting more kind of time freedom, my lifestyle started to change and just personal growth. I didn't really want to be trading the London session anymore because it was late. My wife is home as well. So like I wanted to spend time with her. We wanted to go out to dinner. Like I was very restricted in those hours because here in Australia, the London session starts, depending on daylight saving, between like 6 or 7 p.m. and then all the way kind of into midnight. And if you want to catch that New York session, you're up until midnight.
It's crazy.
So in 2021, I was like, look, and I think we spoke about this before, like James, I was on the call with James on Instagram and he was like, you ever thought about trading the New York close? Never thought of it to me. The New York close for me is kind of between the hours of like 3 a.m. up until about 6 a.m. Here in Australia in the morning. Right. And I'm naturally a morning person. So I'm always up early. I love the mornings, and it's just kind of something I've always kind of lived by. And it just makes my day so much better. If you're up early, you get shit done. The rest of your day just folds out perfectly.
So it's like this trading now that you're doing shorter term, more. Yes. Would you call it scalping?
It's hard to say. So you got to be like really patient because I have certain filters in place. You're not just taking any entry. You're waiting for the perfect entry, so to speak.
So, but the time frame that you're working off of, it's still, I would say, more scalping rather.
More scalping, 100%. If you look at it in time frame sense, in 1 minute, definitely more of a scalping method.
It's important to touch on, like people used to talk down to scalping, but now because it's so readily available. I think more and more people, even like people who follow 100%. James kind of trades in a way that we all do in a little bit of a way that is scalping, looking for those short-term pops, those short-term moves that sometimes turn into the bigger ones. So has that been something that you were like, what, maybe the better way to phrase this question is what were you pursuing in trying to find this new pattern, separating yourself from the ASFX strategies? Because I'm sure people are like, yo, Jerome just stroked the shit out of Austin's courses. Now he's telling me that he trades a different way because he found a new pattern. So what's up with that? Can you speak to like the evolution of how that came about?
Yeah. So the evolution of it basically, once again, it is so very tied into ASFX. You're looking at on the TDI indicator, you're looking for the RSI to be in a specific position at the time of the entry, very similar to the A1.
Sure.
And then also with, in terms of how it's kind of adapted and why I'm trading it like this is because it was the only pattern I saw presenting in my AM, so in the morning. So I tried to trade A1, the D1 system.
It just wasn't showing up.
You're not getting entries. You probably get 1 entry, 2 entries. And then on top of that, just from evaluating myself throughout all of my 2021 trading, I struggled jumping from so many pairs. And I've noticed so many guys in ASFX start to limit the amount of pairs and they're just growing in their success and their trading performance. So for me, like I tested, I think 12 different pairs and I was always kind of jumping between a few of them. You know what I mean? So sometimes I'll miss an entry. I wasn't always as focused. And then little things like that. So what I did is I just adapted this new strategy to work on 1 pair. Like I said, it's on the 1 minute. So I'm only giving focus to 1 instrument, which is US 30. And I'm just waiting patiently for my setup to present, waiting very similar. Like I was saying, it's a very similar approach to how the A1 kind of works. And even if you want to take the D1 system, it's very similar in how we analyze market structure, higher highs, higher lows to find those kind of points. And you can even use diversions and stuff in these systems to kind of optimize your system entries, which is really cool.
I love that. Do you think a lot of your trading is now shifting in this direction because of your natural gaining more knowledge as you're just a participant of markets every day? Or is it shifting in this way because of market conditions specifically? Are you picking US 30 specifically because of everything going on right now with the bear market? Like, how is it? There's so many different variables, right, that go into trading well. So you're saying like you're really trying to find this narrow niche within the entire market. So is that happening right now because of current market conditions, do you think? Or was it always there and you just didn't take advantage of it because you weren't experienced enough?
Exactly. Like simple answer, it's always been there. It's just a pattern that jumped out at me and then bam, just very similar to you and I had Tomo develop in the A2.
Yeah.
It's just a pattern that your eyes just pick up on.
Right.
And it's like,
and you're like, where was that the whole time? It's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. So same thing here. Like I just kept seeing this signal present on the TDI. I'm like, how can we take advantage of that? And then I'm back testing. So I'm back to going back 2 years. So on the 1 minute chart in 2020, crazy. And still profitable.
James, you know what I mean? 2 years of back testing, bro. This guy's back testing he's going back 2 years. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I think I've done about 2 months of actual back testing. So I need to get better at that. But we'll get on to what I wanted to ask just now. But I wanted to ask just what made you choose US study? Was it purely just because of the statistics point of view, or was it because obviously, you know, well, don't point at me. I'm not known as James Bruce FX, but I've got two guys here that are known as Jerome Lampasi FX and Austin Silver
That's
FX.
true.
So what made you change from currencies to indices?
It's such a weird factor, right? So when I was doing a Fund the Challenge, even on my personal, so with my personal account on Awanda, no commission, no spread. For some unknown reason, like as soon as I hit buy or sell, I am in at the exact price. Sure. Now, when I was doing this on, let's say, Bitcoin or FX pairs, the spread would kind of give me a disadvantage because, like we're saying, it is kind of scalping. So every pip matters in this point. So that's pretty much the primary reason I was using US 30. And on top of that, I am finding that US 30 does trend differently than other FX pairs. I don't, like you were saying, Austin, I don't know if this is based on current market conditions with everything going on. Yeah. But it's just the way it ebbs and flows. Using the 1 minute, it's just easier for my eyes to catch those movements and draw out those structure points.
I would say it probably would be profitable if it's profitable in US 30 on other indices as well. But I would agree with you as well that US 30 does move differently. I find S&P 500 and NASDAQ seem to align often. But US 30 would be not always. Sometimes it's NASDAQ that chops and US 30 moves, but more often than not, I find US 30 will deviate from the other indices sometimes. So that could be the edge that you're exploiting. It's separation from the other indices.
And on that topic as well, you were mentioning someone you did on the ASFX, the trading podcast, that even Bitcoin and the indices kind of correlate, but they don't necessarily correlate. That doesn't mean they're attached to each other. Yeah. So I've noticed the exact same things. So when I see an entry present on US 30, I jump over to Bitcoin. It's there. Like I could trade both of them. You know what I mean? Correlation. 100%. So it's very, once again, it's a very interesting pattern. You know what I mean?
So yeah, absolutely. I want to change subjects for a second.
Yeah, definitely.
We didn't even talk about this. You've been running the live streams now for trading this specific time and showing this strategy with ASFX TV. So now that you've been streaming and you've created content through YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you've done live streaming, we've built a course together, and that is still selling today. Like, we've done so many different things. Why do you think ASFX TV has seen such success on the jump? And for those of you not listening, there's a 3-day free trial for you in the description to this video. But why do you think we've popped so much, James or Jerome? Why do you think there's been so much success with ASFX TV off the jump?
100%. I put it to, people are very much visual learners and they love seeing the process.
Yeah.
You know, like people can post markups, people can post their trade ideas and stuff. But when people are watching the markets play out in front of you, and then they're hearing Austin, James, Tom, Dennis, like my voices explaining the process, what we are looking at as the market's printing these candles, it's just a whole different environment where traders can come in and they can get a different perspective on what we're looking at. And then they can ask questions. So if they're they got a question not familiar with or something they want to ask, they can ask it and get an answer in real time. Like, the amount of value in it is just crazy. And I think it's a massive, it cuts a lot of the learning curve because you're just kind of accelerating a part in your learning process where, like I was saying, you have questions, you get the answers pretty much straight away. If you're still unsure, just keep asking it. You know what I mean? Like, we're very transparent in these ASFX TV live streams. And, we just show stuff that we necessarily don't always show on social media or on our YouTube videos. So we give exclusive insight into.
Well, yeah, because I think that's where the real action is. That's where 100%. That's where it's happening. You know what I mean? That's where everything's going down. So it's like, I feel like now the way we've offered it, with the courses being the intro, you take the courses, you get that information, then you get to see it live, but not just from me. They get to see it live with your perspective in this new pattern that you're developing. They get to see James's perspective and Tom's perspective. And that's where I think people find the most value, is in mixing all of these things together and saying, I like this and I don't like this, and I'm going to do this to make this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at 100%, like, people get so much value just in everyone's insight and perspective on how they trade. Like I watch, James's, I watch, Austin's, I watch Tom, I watch all the live streams, like everyone that's streaming on there. I'm watching the replays. I'm catching them live sometimes and just seeing their approach, because it's just the amount of value you're always growing as a trader. You know what I mean? Like you're not just going to sit back and be like, okay, cool, I'm successful now. No, let's get the foot off the accelerator.
It's so funny you say that, because if people who follow our show religiously are now listening to these episodes in order, Crudelli said the same thing as well, didn't he, James?
Wow. He can learn from anyone, whether they've been trading 6 months or 6 years, 60 years. Yep.
That's the, I think that is the winning perspective. If you can go through life learning from everyone, there's literally, bro, at my yoga teacher training graduation last night, that was the quote. There was a quote that they read at the end, and it was a quote from someone, I forget who, so I'm not going to quote them exactly, but paraphrasing, it said, like, even at the last moment of some famous artist's life, even at the last moment of their life, they were like, if I only lived another 10 years, maybe then I would have been a good painter. They always saw themselves as amateur, always saw themselves as still a student. So like the end quote for our yoga teacher training was like, always kind of see yourself as a student, but also still now being a teacher to share the knowledge too. So it was really cool. Yeah, so that's exactly what we're talking about.
I think you go on, James, go on.
I just wanted to ask, maybe just to change the topic a bit. When it comes to, you said you're trading the A1 and the D2. So for the listeners, that's the two of the systems that Awesome teaches in the courses. And then we get the D1. I feel like you and I trade very similarly. We scalp, basically, if you want to put it in inverted commas, scalp the D1 system. Obviously, yours is slightly different to how I read it, but similar in the context that we're using the TDR on the 1 minute and price action on the 1 minute, right? Why do you think you've had so much recent success in the last 6 months that you've been trading this on the 1 minute compared to when you were trading basically A1s during the London session?
That's a great question, bro. I put it down to, when you're looking at indices or FX pairs, right? I feel like you just get an attachment to a certain instrument. And because I put it down to studying US 30 so much, it could have been Bitcoin, it could have been USD JPY, it could have been anything, but because I put so much attention and my focus into US 30, and it's the only thing I've more or less looked at, like 99% of my focus is on US 30. So understanding its characteristics and how it moves, I put that down to 100% on my focus. And also in like a relation to that, my success as well, because not that what's going to happen, but you develop I don't know the word, like you get a little bit
rhythm. It's a rhythm.
Yeah. You kind of get little, I'm kind of losing track of my words here, but you kind of understand it. You just get an attachment to it.
You fall in line with that one pair, and it's going to move a lot today to FOMC because it's a USD pair or whatever it is. You start to know the news events and how it impacts it. You just get in line with it.
Yeah, and it just aligns with everything. And then on top of that, I'm trading a method that, it definitely does suit my lifestyle better. So that's another thing that allows me to be more consistent in my approach. And then also, I'm in and out of my trades really quickly. Like a lot of people like seeing the quick profitable trades, but like on the flip side, if you're going to have quick profits, you're also going to have quick losses. 100%. Like you can't have one without the other.
Sure.
If you're making 2% within 5 minutes, you're going to be losing 1% within 2 minutes. Sure. Like it's just the reality of scalping.
Well, that's just risk. That's just based on your position size too.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It could be. What are you doing with position size? Or because you're getting more frequent entries, are you trading smaller now?
Yeah, 100%. So this all comes down to just, I am working on like risk management strategies to implement into this system, but it's very much very small risk. Yeah. If I'm taking let's say 5 to 10 trades per day, which obviously I'm not going to, but the system does generate that many entries between my time frame. So if I was to take all of them, there's no way I'm putting 1%, not even half a percent,
no way,
not even 1/4% on these trades. Right, if I was to take all of them,
because you're getting a high frequency.
Exactly. Yeah. So you want to kind of it comes down to survival. You're chucking 1% on these trades, you are not going to survive the day.
How do you be more selective to not take all of them? Do you have a process? Is that what you're trying to figure out through all this back testing?
100%. So it comes down to timing. I've tested between, so with Australian Eastern Standard Time, I've tested between 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4, 5, and 6 a.m. And so far between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. is the highest win rate and the most profitability. So all I have to do is just adjust my hours. So instead of trading, from that 4-hour window, I just shrink it down to a 2-hour window, and that filter and element alone increases my strike rate and my profitability and eliminates so many trades.
It makes sense. Do you find that time, I mean, we got to talk about this, like time has played a huge impact in your trading. And I think that's why you pay so much attention to it in your back testing. Like you said, before we started the recording, the time, what was it? The daylight savings time screwed you up for a couple of days, 100%.
Right? I think we're going to lead into a good topic here because, as some of you guys know, I was doing a funded challenge, and, a lot of it was to do with the belief system. And I did this at the start of this year, 2022. And, as I had like Austin in the back corner, James and a few other guys just really kind of giving me the motivation and the encouragement, like, you got this. I was basically still developing the system at the time, and I didn't have a lot of data to go on. So essentially I got to like 7.3% on the challenge, and my ego got in the way, and I oversized one of the trades thinking, here we go, I can pass it. And it was a losing trade. So like I took a massive chunk of it out of the thing. And then with the timing, like you're saying, it's just, it was just crazy. I've actually legit forgotten what your question was, bro.
I remember. It's okay.
Like a bit of a tangent now.
I love it, bro. No, well, because you're talking about, I asked you, how did daylight savings time make an impact?
That's right. I knew the timing question. Yeah. So to come back into that, as I took that last trade, I had noticed that that savings shifted in New York. So of course, that changed the market dynamics and when US 30 was actually being traded. And this is when I started to realize this system very much performs well at certain hours. I don't know, that's based on the traders or the market movers or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like trading for every system, maybe you would say even with the A1 and D1 and stuff, like it does perform better at certain times of day, for sure.
Exactly. So I don't know if that's just certain price action, I have no idea. I couldn't really put an aspect on it.
Like I'm saying, it could be most strategies are time dependent. Yes. That would make sense because it's all about context. Like we had Steve Burns on and he was talking about knowing your time frame and the context of the trade. So I think you say it's everything.
No, the guys in New York are going for lunch earlier, so that's definitely affecting it.
Right.
100%, bro. Like you never, legit could be a factor, eh?
Right.
But like I was saying, daylight savings changed, and I didn't have the data to correlate what happens because on TradingView you only get X amount of time on the 1 minute. So I can only go back like 2 months, so which isn't a lot of data, but it was enough for me to start trading it live in the sense because I was getting, like Austin said, the frequency of trades was a lot. So 2 months worth of trading gave me over 100 trades, which was like, that's a decent sample size to understand the system's profitability. So as that saving hits, it just threw me off. And I'm like, you know what, I got to test this. I need to find out at minimum 2 years worth of data. And that's just what I've kind of been doing and just tweaking it, optimizing it, retesting it. And it's just been a fun, frustrating journey.
So Jerome,
good, James, you go first.
So I wanted to ask, so I'm very interested in what you're doing right now and kind of explain to the listeners and me, because I've researched, I watched your YouTube video on it. You've been using this software called Soft4X, right? Or is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
So is that literally like you can go back in time and like, it's like you're trading, it's like a trade simulator, but literally like you're going back in time. Is
100%.
That, explain to me and the listeners.
So so of course, developing and testing a 1 minute system this was the biggest thing for me. I'm trying to test the D1 system as well. I could never get my hands on 1 minute, like accurate 1 minute data.
Yeah.
And then I eventually found this software called Soft4FX, and they allow you to download up to, I think, 3 years worth of a 1 minute tick data. Oh. And what you can do with this, it's like an EA plugs into MT4, and you can load up this historic data on any instrument, crypto, any FX pair, and you can test it with as if you're watching these trades play out live. So you can see the candles growing, shrinking, whatever. And you can make your trading decisions based on this. So that was one of the biggest, it's been a massive advantage in my testing.
So like it's literally like if a Formula One driver had to go into like a trading simulator, basically like that.
Bro,
and you
100%.
going back in time.
That's such a good way to put it. Yeah. Because you're watching these trades play out live. You know what I mean? Like you can set it to as if it was the trades were printing live, and you can watch what happens. You don't have to skip ahead. You don't have to go back. You can just make trading decisions as if you were trading, and it really is like a game changer for my testing. Yeah,
sure. Because then it also helps with emotions. Obviously, you're not trading obviously real money then, but it's just practice,
Exactly. It's just practice. It's repetition. And it's allowed me, like I said, with the retesting and optimizing, as you go through these testings, you just notice one or two little things. And it's like, you know what, if I adjust this, maybe if I give my stop a little room, or maybe if I focus on a different filter or parameter, I can increase the system's performance. Just little things like that. So
what do you think about crypto, Jerome? What's happening?
What do I think about it?
I mean, we're at Bitcoin 20K, literally right now, 20,100. What are you thinking? Because bro, I'm probably saying 12K, somewhere around there.
I'm saying 10.
10 to 12. That's my guess.
Yeah. I don't think crypto, as it has been with the hype and a lot of investors, I don't think we've ever experienced both inflation and the recession and all these things. And, like, I know people, I'm talking to people that they can't even afford their groceries here in Australia. Like, what do you think? What makes you think they're going to go, I'm going to go buy some Bitcoin this week? Like, it's not the last thing they're thinking about. You know what I mean?
Everybody's selling their Bitcoin to pay for groceries, bro. That's what's happening right now. There's, you know what I mean? A lot of people are selling their Bitcoin. And then that's why I think you're seeing it drop so fast, because more and more people are getting panicked. The fear is crazy now. Fear is super high.
They need the money. And that's not just a handful of people. Unfortunately, that's a lot of people. But I think 10K. If we go to 10K, that's an 85% correction. And historically, we've seen an 85% correction. What makes you think it's going to stick at 20K with everything going on? You know what I mean? Like, all it takes is just one more news event, something dramatic to happen in the world, and a bit more FOMO and a bit of fear, and people just going to be like, we're out.
Yeah.
Like,
do you think that or something?
Yeah.
Do you think that the Luna thing, that the blowout with that, do you think that was like a lot of people say you need a big failure, to bottom out a bear market? It was Enron. It was like you had Enron, you had long-term capital management, you had those firms, in 2008, you had Bear Stearns, you had some of the banks that went under. You always have these things that bottom out. Do you think we've seen that yet? Because I don't.
No, definitely not.
I think you have to see a crypto that's been used a lot disappear, or like that one gets shut down, And I mean, people lost a lot of money with the Luna. Like, that guy Cameron lost like $2 million.
Jeez, really?
Yeah, he was just holding it because it was supposed to be a stable coin.
So much for a stable coin goes to zero.
Yeah, so much.
What? Yeah. What was that that company that loans people in crypto or something, weren't they? Yeah. What happened with that? Don't you think that could be like a sign of things like going hectic or south?
I mean, that's what a lot of people have been talking about, is like that those companies, because what they're doing is like, you give them Bitcoin and then they give you a USD loan, and you don't have to pay taxes on the USD loan. You don't pay taxes on loans. You pay interest. But if Bitcoin is going up in value, the gain in Bitcoin's value used to cover the interest that you owed on the loan. So you were fine. But now, when Bitcoin's value is going down against your loan, they can increase the interest rate. It's variable.
Yeah.
So they can raise the rates. And I think it's going to lead to another. It's not a bubble.
No. I think, so as I was going to say, like, even the energy cost. So the energy cost and supply cost to make one Bitcoin, Bitcoin's actually under that price. So
really?
I think it was either 17,000 or 21,000. Don't quote me on that, but it's around those figures.
Wow.
So Bitcoin goes under that. All these miners and Bitcoin farms, they're actually losing money. So what makes you think they're going to continue their operations? So if they stop mining Bitcoin, the supply goes down. Not that the supply goes down, but the supply doesn't increase, I should say. So like, I think it's just a very weird spot for it at the minute.
Dude, what do you think Anthony Pompliano must be feeling?
He's definitely, even all these massive investors that just have so much,
dude,
like leverage.
Michael Saylor is down like 1.2 billion, bro. Billion, bro.
I had a guy come to me because he lost like $200 the other day, and he was freaking out. I'm like, I'm like, you gotta put it into perspective. Like, I understand, like $200, some people can be a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, I still look at $200 and be like,
yeah. I don't want to lose $200.
You know, it can go into other stuff. But like, when you look at these investors that are just holding these massive red bags right now,
like
$1 billion in P&L, like just floating P&L loss, like,
jeez.
Dogecoin millionaire is now a Dogecoin trash man.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
well, it's like Kathy Wood holding the ARK investments, right?
Yeah.
100%. So it's like even more of why now is the best time to be a day trader, because you're just
100%.
Like, we've been crushing the shorts. You know, I'm just super grateful to be trading now too, with the funded companies making it super easy to trade indices. Like when now I always grew up and people were like the market. Now I can actually just trade the market. I don't have to have a futures account. I don't have an options account. I can actually trade S&P 500. I can trade the market for the first time, which is fun. Like I love that.
Yeah. And to just quickly change the topic, like back to kind of some type of psychology, I wanted to ask James this, and Austin as well. So with belief systems and competitiveness in the market, do you feel like they can give you an edge or an advantage? Before we started the podcast, I was talking to Austin, just saying like the competitiveness in the sense of you're looking at other people's success, and other people's success has always been a driven factor for me, right? I love seeing people do well, but like, should you be in some sense competing with those people, but ultimately competing with yourself to do better in trading? Like, I know for me, so I'm definitely falling into a place with this year where I'm getting a little bit comfortable, and nothing really grows in your comfort zone. It's always when I'm at putting myself in very weird situations where I've seen the most growth is when I'm uncomfortable. Like, do you feel like as traders, we should be putting ourselves in kind of an uncomfortable situation to really maximize our growth? Or do you think you can just be very kind of not so much complacent, but kind of sit back and do a minimal work in a sense, and not really giving all your attention to the craft? I hope I questioned that right.
James, do you want to go, or you want me to go?
Yeah, I can go first. So I think, to be honest, like for me, so this is how I've always looked at it. It's like, when it comes to trading, right, I don't really care what anybody else is making. I don't care if someone's had $100,000 day. I honestly don't follow anyone that posts any sort of like MT4 stuff like that doesn't appeal to me at all. And actually, when I do come across it on Instagram, on like the explore page, and that I don't even bother even going into it, because it just distracts me. The only people that I really like share my stuff with is Austin and Tom and the guys that I work closely with. I think when it comes to a trading perspective, I don't look at anybody else's P&L, just because I think for me, just like, you should always be competing against yourself. Where were you last year? Okay, cool. I'm doing better. That's good. Don't care because if let's say you have a good week, just for example, and you make $5,000, just put a number, and you go on Instagram and you see some guys made $50,000 in one day. How's it going to make you feel? It's going to make you feel edgy when you get to the desk next time. It's going to make you want to over risk, oversize, and do stupid things and chase. Oh no, I need to make 50,000 now, whatever it is. What I get my motivation from is, so I stand in state here in South Africa, and you got a lot of wealthy older people, like 40 years, 50 year guys that have made their wealth in other areas of life. And I look at that, I'm like, that's where I want to be. And they're not obviously coming past me and telling how much they made that day, and that I think trading's got that bad stigma. So I always look at myself. I don't care what anybody else is making. I don't outside my circle, as I just mentioned, Austin, Tom, and the guys in the BSC. I don't really care in the trading sense of things, but I look at for inspiration from other areas of people that do other aspects in life. And I think that has helped me a lot in staying focused on myself and my own trading, because as I said, you can look at someone else making X amount of dollars and be like, no, I need to push now, which can be a bad thing and lead to terrible decision making. So that's just how I've seen it.
100%. And just to kind of go on that, so like for the traders out there that do look at this stuff, because it is everywhere on Instagram and social media.
It's everywhere.
It's crazy. So I think for me, like when I see someone, I should kind of make this like clear. So when I see someone that's verified, like someone I know that's doing well, making a lot of money. So as we know, like Austin's been sharing like James's success and stuff, right? A lot of traders will look at that. When a trader looks at that, and that they'll be like, I want to make 10K a month. What do you think should be their main primarily focus to put themselves in that position? Of course, you can't just look at that and dwell on it. I'm like, oh, I wish I could make that much. Like, of course, that's not the attitude you want. I think for me, because I get this question a lot, like when people see people making a lot of money in trading,
sure,
what do you feel like should be their motivation behind that to get to that point? Because of course, you know, you post on Twitter, like P&L posts on Twitter, they do very well because people can resonate with it. People want that. And I think, to kind of paraphrase my question a bit better, what do you think should be the action steps for these traders to get to your position, James, or, you know, any other one's position making that much for a funded company?
Well, I always say, and this is what my girlfriend's dad always told me. So for those that don't know, I actually started off trading off private investor capital. My girlfriend's dad gave me money, quite a large sum of money. And then my dad invested in me. So that's how I first started. And and then I got into the funding companies. He always told me, learn the skill and the money will follow. Because if you can do it with $1,000, you can do it with $100 billion. He said, the first thing he said to me before he gave me money, he said, is this scalable? Is it scalable? If you can do it with, if I give you $10,000 now, in 10 years time, can you do this with $1 million or $20 million, whatever? And I showed him, yes, you can, because you increase the lot sizes. And he was like, okay, cool. If then learn the skill and the money will follow. That's what I would say, because as I said, if you can learn the skill, you will be having 10K months, and that it's just a matter of time.
That's it. Perfect answer, bro.
Yeah. And I'll leave that because I think that's a good answer. I'll go back to your previous question and just add to what he said about competition, because I think it is more of a competition with yourself than anything else.
100%.
But I do think competitive people tend to do well in trading, because competition with yourself is the hardest competition there is on any given Sunday, right? Anybody can win or lose. That's the saying, right? For football. So when you compete against other people, anything can happen. My soccer team here tied a really shitty team last week. Anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen. But when you're competing against yourself, you are not going to win unless you make improvements. You'll consistently get beaten. So you have to make improvements or you will not change. So I think that's why it's the ultimate competition, and that's why competitive people do well. And I think that you get to a point in your trading where you realize energy leaves your own trading when you're looking at what other people are doing and trying to take that and live in that more than in your own thing. There's more opportunity now than ever before.
100%.
So if you're using other people's success for motivation, my feedback for that is find deeper motivation within yourself. There's more meaning to success than other people making money. And if you can find that motivation, then you don't really care what other people are doing, because like James just described, you're driven by your own success, your own competitive drive. And I think that is why people like James are able to find someone like myself, help them get profitable, and then see big payouts. And if you look at the guys who we've coached now who are funded in the Black Shirt Club or just funded in ASFX, the guys, like there's a guy I can think of, I won't say his name for whatever his privacy reasons, but like he's in a different country now. He's left the States with his money that he's been making from his payouts. He's moved to a different country, and he's moved in a direction of like trying to achieve this big goal that he had, which was to live specifically in this one area of another country where his family is from. So I think that bigger vision of like moving out of the country, living with my family that I haven't seen in 15 years, that is the bigger motivator rather than someone's P&L that you saw on Instagram. I think that it can distract you, because then you end up chasing a dollar. And when we've all been in a 100%. Position of chasing a dollar with our trades, we end up getting smacked. You just lose. So when you say, you know what, forget it. Austin, everybody is telling me there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of tradable capital out there if I just get this skill down. So like James said, get the skill down and the money will follow. The FTMO, we all thought was a scam when I first got into trading 6 years ago. They had just come out. Like nobody was talking about them. It was like, no way they're going to give you money to trade with. And now look at it, bro.
Yeah. I think so. The biggest, like, I wanted to get you guys insight on that, because the biggest growth for me in trading has been personal growth. Like cool. Like Austin was saying, you can look at other people and inspire to be be doing what they do. But focusing on that isn't going to get you to where you want to be. Personal growth is by far the biggest factor in trading. Self-development, going through your strengths and weaknesses and improving what you are good at. And I think it all correlates like 100%, where if you can dig deep in trading, which you're going to have to, because it is such a psychological and emotional game. The zero-sum game, you are competing, it's yourself against the market. It's not just, or unless you have a community of people, but ultimately you are the one pushing the buttons. A lot of retail traders out there are sitting in their bedrooms on their laptops in their office or whatever, and there's got no one looking over their shoulder.
Right.
So you can't really 100% rely on other people. Like we can coach people as much as we want, you know what I mean? But we're not pushing the buttons for them. They need to do that. And ultimately that comes down by just self-improvement. Like you guys said, good trading, money is a byproduct of good trading. It is what it is. Like if you're fucking up and making mistakes, unfortunately it's going to result in your account going into negative. You're going to make stupid mistakes. You're going to get your ego involved. And it goes both ways. If you're making a lot of money, you got to keep yourself in check. I've been there many times. And also on the flip side, where you're losing a lot of money, you're going to overposition to make your money back. It is such the amount of mental clarity and mental capital you need in trading. And it's just enormous. You know what I mean? Not saying it's impossible, because no one's born a great trader. It's literally a skill you develop. And I think the reason I wanted to get your insight on that was just that, because I get a lot of questions of people being like, how do you trade full-time for a living? Like, what did you do? It's nothing special. It's just consistency, discipline. And, I think to give everyone an action step to go on that and how to build it, it's just, honestly, it's self-development and getting a better understanding of yourself and putting your ego aside. You know what I mean? Like if you lose money on a trade, share it. You don't have to show just your wins. Show your losses. Show your losses more than your wins. Actually, just show your losses. Don't even show your wins. You know what I mean? Like it will give you a different perspective, and it will help you drop your ego. And once you can get outside of yourself, I think the amount of growth you are going to see is going to be next level for sure. And then coming down to the skill of trading. I could teach someone technical analysis within 30 days. You know what I mean? Like it's not that hard. 60 days to learn a system. The rest of it is either doing your back testing, confidence, self-discipline, getting yourself into a drawdown, and then having the discipline to get yourself out, following your rules. And once again, constantly learning. Like don't get complacent. I think if you're someone to you're at the top at where you want to be, or you've hit a goal, of course, like take a moment to realize it and understand like this is a great achievement for me, but don't get complacent. 100%. I've done that where multiple times in my life where I've achieved a goal. I think the biggest one for me is like when I did a bodybuilding competition. Bodybuilding is very similar to how I look at trading. I think any sport really, where, you can have a coach telling you what to do and how to do it. At the end of the day, if you don't go to the gym, it's on you. If you don't eat the right foods, it's on you, and everything's going to have a direct correlation to your ultimate performance and how you look on stage. Of course, everyone knows my story. I put on after my bodybuilding competition. I did pretty well. I was happy with myself. I achieved a massive goal. 2 years later, I'm 35 kilos heavier. So I'm at 60 pounds. Yes. I got complacent. You know what I mean? I didn't go to the gym. I just left. I just stopped. And still to this day, like I look back at that and I tie that event into trading. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm doing well in trading. I've gotten complacent and I've fucked up. You know what I mean? Like I've slipped. And I think people don't realize that, to stay on top of your game in trading is going to require some effort. Of course it does get easier. Or it doesn't get easier. You just get stronger or better.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Yeah. Would you agree that trading mistakes never really stop? You just get better at making them smaller.
100%. We're not robots. You know what I mean? Like humans are such emotional creatures, and trading really does show that. It's just so, especially when you're playing with money. Like we were saying before, your belief system in trading is going to determine your success. If you have so many issues with money and you think money is the root of all evil, and how can you expect to make money or play with money or risk money?
No, you manifest that, bro. If you think you're sick, you can make yourself sick. If you think you're going to be rich, you can make yourself rich. It's part of it. It isn't the only thing. You can't just sit there and be like, I'm going to get rich. You got to go do something. You got to do something to get that, but you got to align your thoughts with your words. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Your thoughts with your words create that in your reality. It'll model your actions. It'll dictate what you do, and that'll bring that to you, Yeah.
100%.
I think I just want to.
Isn't that the law of attraction? Isn't that basically what that
law of attraction?
Basically, bro. That's it.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to say, to go on what Jerome was saying. I think I was watching a podcast with Tim Grover, and he was, and obviously I've also read his book Winning. He in his book Winning, he actually talks about that. Getting to the top is pretty. Most people in the NBA and the guys that he coached have had the ability to get to the top, and they did. Yeah. But to stay at the top was like is the ultimate like discipline. Like to get to the top is easy for most of the guys in that have that amount of ability. But to stay at the top for multiple years, to win multiple championships, that's what's fucking hard.
100%.
That's what basically
just to come on that exact topic, like getting money is easy, keeping it is hard. And how many traders out there, if you're listening to this and made it this far into the podcast, how many traders have made profits and given it back?
Everybody.
It's so easy. Like anyone can pull money out of the financial market. Obviously, doing it consistently is another
whole nother thing.
Topic. Yeah. And not giving back as much is a whole nother topic as well. So like to find that balance, it's like it is easy to get somewhere. Maintaining it is a different story. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to change your kind of whole approach in a sense where not your approach in your action, but your approach in your discipline and how you kind of handle yourself. I think definitely.
I totally agree. I think that's a great place to leave us for today, gentlemen. I appreciate you both. I know the audience is going to love this. So for everyone who listened all the way through, make sure you subscribe, drop a comment, let us know what you liked, what you didn't like. If you'd like to have Jerome back on and any specific questions for him, put those in the comments as well. We appreciate you guys always listening in. We really appreciate Jerome giving us the time. Yeah. James, thank you as always, brother. And for everybody else,
thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Jerome.
Guys, in the next episode. Thanks, everybody.